So no, I'm very excited to see this game. The thing that struck me most just looking at your Kickstarter video is now I haven't played the previous Divinity games, and I don't know
Okay.
how many of my viewers will have done that. So I'm not familiar with your setting, but just the gameplay struck me as a really interesting amalgamation of Baldur's Gate, Diablo, a little Elder Scrolls. The elemental combination magic really struck me as the best parts of Magicka. It's like someone took all my favorite RPG fantasy games and decided to gel them together in a really, really nice way.
Well, that's very cool to hear. Thank you. We actually, so the philosophy of this game, so the design philosophy behind it is that we wanted to go back to the first Divinity game that we made. So we went back to an isometric view on purpose. So there's, for instance, no way to turn the camera. We have always wanted to do a turn-based game. But publishers most of the time told us not to do that. They went like, "What is this 1984 turn-based games? They don't sell anymore." So we never got around to do that. So now that we are self-publishing, we only have investors, and they say like, "You're the game developer, so you're free in doing what you want to do." So they actually acknowledge us as the specialists of game development, and they just trust us in that. Another thing that we always have wanted to do, and I think we have network code in every game that we have released, but we never got round to getting it working. So we finally made a game that you can play with more than just one player. We also always wanted to make a party-based RPG instead of the hack and slash kind. So, for instance, the first Divinity game was a hack and slash game because at that time Diablo was a big hit. And
Mm-hmm.
again, the publisher said, like, you have to make it a hack and slash game as well. So there are a lot of things in here that we either stole from our own ideas or things that we never got to do because of, for instance, working together with a publisher. Um, and all the other things. So if you say, for instance, it reminds me of Bethesda's RPGs, I think that is because Bethesda is also making RPGs the way that we believe that RPGs should be made. Most of the time that relies, I think, a lot on systems that are always running in the background without requiring a lot of custom scripting. So what happens if you do this? A lot of these things go back to like in the 80s when people didn't have a lot of memory to actually run all these scripts. They jumped back to systemic behavior. So if, for instance, in this game, if you steal something, people react to it. We did not have to script that for every NPC running around. It's just something that is constantly running in the background.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. Now, you mentioned doing the multiplayer. Now, I understand this is just a two-player multiplayer game.
Yeah, so the campaign that we are making is a party-based story. So the story revolves around two main heroes, these guys. If you play this game in single player, you don't lose anything. So I know that a lot of RPG players, like 90% probably, will play this game single player. And a friend of yours can just drop in and drop out and just takes over one of the main heroes that you choose them to. And the party can grow up to six. So you can each hire a henchman, and you can each have an elemental summoned. So that then you really have a party-based RPG, and the engine actually does support up to six actual players. But because we wanted to have a story about two characters, and we're implementing some special features for that, we chose to stop the multiplayer at two people. For instance, one of the features that we have in this game is if you're talking to someone and you have to make a decision, and the other main character is close by, he gets in on the dialogue. He also gets to say what he wants to say about the decision. So, but we'll see a couple of examples of that probably as we go through the game. And another thing is very often in the game, if you have seen something or read something or you've done something, etc., these party members can talk to each other and then give their opinion about what just happened. And that way we start collecting social stats. So if we would allow more people to join in this game, we would have to actually give everyone a voice, and then having to decide on something with like 6 people is just that's a lot of work, and
It is.
we wanna release this game still in 2013. So
And making decisions by committee rarely works. I'm curious. I know that you're shipping the game with full editing tools, correct? So people can
indeed,
make their own sort
yeah.
of levels and mods and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
In that, will people be able to create mods or campaigns that support up to 6 players in there?
Yes, of
Oh,
course. That's why I
I
said
see.
that the engine supports up to 6 players playing together. Because if you look at the most of the well-known RPGs from back in the days, most of the time there you had a 4, 5, or 6 player or party. So
Right,
that's
right.
why.
So the two player party limit is simply for this particular campaign because of the
Indeed,
story that you're looking to tell.
yeah, indeed.
All right. No, that's certainly fine. One of the things that is kind of interesting is the amount of interaction you seem to allow with the world. The ability to sort of pick things up that are just sitting on tables and interact with a lot of bags. Like I can already see a few items kicking around here: the signpost, the books, and I don't want to click on anything because I don't want to start the story.
That's
Oh,
okay.
apparently you can throw crates.
Yeah, well, so the rule is in our games, and it always has been in Divinity games, um, because we're a lot of us at the office are big fans of Ultima games, where you
Mm-hmm.
could already pick up almost everything. So even the things that seemed very useless, you could just pick them up and see if they had a use. So we want to get that Ultima feeling back again. So if it's not really nailed down and if it's humanly possible to lift it, you can pick it up, you can move it around, you can throw it, you can even damage enemies by throwing stuff at them. You can destroy a lot of things. And again, uh, taken from Ultima, well, the inspiration came from there, I think, is that you can combine these items together. So if you're wondering, like, why can I pick up simple wooden sticks? Because you can make stuff with sticks if you combine them with other items.
I noticed in one of your Kickstarter or one of your preview videos you had some combine poison mushroom with
Hmm.
a sword and create a poison sword.
Yeah, that's one of the most simple combinations that we have. We also have combinations where you have to find 5 items to actually come up with something. So, but it's always you drag one item over the other, which creates a new item, and you can
That's
keep.
very easy.
Yeah, and often you can keep on going. One of the examples that I give often is if you find tomatoes and a hammer, you can make ketchup by dragging the hammer over the tomatoes. Uh,
Is there cooking in the game?
uh, of- well, if we say that we based a lot of these things on Ultima, of course you can
Mm-hmm.
bake bread.
That
'Cause-
that was my next question. Yeah,
okay,
that's classic. All right, that
yeah.
has me
So.
very excited. I mean, that's it's kind of a nerdy thing to say, but I think that sort of thing implies a lot about the game system and the flexibility, and that's good. Now, the campaign itself, I assume is fixed. It's not randomly generated, the levels and the maps and so on.
Nothing is generated. We played around with level generation when we did the second Divinity game, and we realized. So it was in the final game, but we realized that it's not that easy actually to write a very intelligent dungeon generator. Um, and we also still want to be able to tell a story. And as soon as you start having generated stuff, I think it's hard, and I think players start recognizing that it was actually a computer that put all of this stuff together. Um,
Well,
and
there's a lot to be said about handcrafting things, and I think the fact that
mm,
you're shipping all the modding tools ensures a lot of replayability and longevity to the game, despite having a campaign that's fixed.
yeah, so the editor will also allow the players to jump into this campaign and fix or change whatever they think could have been done better. Or they can start from our campaign and see how we did certain things and
Oh
learn
yeah.
from that.
Oh no, that's very good because I'm sure people are going to want to be able to do that so that
Hmm.
they can learn and understand themselves. Do you have a plan for how these mods or levels are going to be distributed? Are you going to have a central repository for that?
At the moment, we are already talking to Steam, and I think Steamworks will already be in there. Um, but if it's successful, because you will also be able to buy this game from GOG, for instance.
Hmm.
Um, so we will need an online database or a searchable database to get these mods up to the players. And I know that not everyone will want to have Steam. So we're also looking into a solution for people who play the GOG version or the CD version, because if you buy the actual box, you can also choose whether you want to install the non-DRM version or if you want to install it on Steam.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So I see about using Steam to distribute things, which should make it pretty easy. Another question about the level editing. Is it just the level itself, or can you change some of the gameplay rules? Can you implement your own spell effects, item types, that sort of thing?
The One of the things that we always start with when we start creating a game is make sure that we can iterate over certain decisions very easily. So, for instance, the level that you're watching now was originally designed by a level designer in such a way that he could tell the story that needs to be told in there. And then an artist went over it and it started looking a lot better than it used to. So I'm not saying it was a bad designer, but an artist has a different eye, if
Sure,
you
sure.
catch my drift.
Hmm.
So we constantly iterate over certain things, such as just the visuals of a level. An animation could be better, but also design decisions. So, for instance, balancing in this game, it actually uses an Excel file. So, if you think that a certain character is too strong, you can just change the Excel file and immediately see in the game what impact that had on, for instance, that character. So in creating items and giving them different stats, creating new monsters, giving them different stats, you can all do that in the game. And even the magical skills and the other skills, they are also balanced in that same Excel file, and they are organized in such a way that you could use, for instance, a template. So if you have a fireball, for instance, that is just a ranged projectile that you're shooting, and it has an effect on something. So for a
Hmm.
fireball, you can define how large is its area of effect, how far can you throw it, and what effect does it have on people, how much damage does it do, and in this case, fireball, it sets people on fire. So you can inherit a new skill from the fireball skill, and you could call it, for instance, ice ball, and then you just give it a new visual effect, which you can also import, and you give it a bigger distance or a smaller one, or a bigger area of effect, or a smaller one, and instead of people burning, they can be frozen. Instead of doing fire damage, it can do ice damage. So there's lots of things that you can actually change, because we want to be able to change that while we're making the game very easily. And if we have done it and we're giving away the editor with it, people will also be able to do that.
That's really exciting. So I don't know if you want to lead me around and show me the level or the combat a little bit at this point, and then maybe in a little bit I'll ask you about your Kickstarter campaign.
Okay, cool. Um, so one of the features, as I told you, is that the party members can talk to each other. So what you want to do is pick up the book that's lying next to the corpse there,
Okay. Oh,
and
did I?
if you press I, yeah, the current animation for pickup is actually the attack animation, because it's not in place yet. So there's things still missing from what we're doing, of course.
Okay, I thought I'd killed the book.
If you press I for inventory and right-click the book, you'll actually read it.
Right. Rejoice, for the statues have granted my wish, finally. Their downright folly and whimsical nature, however, need not be taken lightly. So before I soar through the sky like an eagle, I shall attempt a mere hop from the cliffs down at the beach. This should be a small feat for the man that can fly. This experiment is successful, the sun shall be my next target. And judging by the fact that we found this book next to a body, I'm thinking it didn't go well for him.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can click on me, This is also the only time in the game that people have exclamation marks above their head. So, quest givers and even quest items, you have to find out what you can do for people. No one will just run up to you and tell you what to do or ask for something. You have to start gathering. Well, gathering clues is a bit much, but we only if it has to do something with the main quest will people actually tell you what to do. Otherwise, you'll just have to find out. So it could be that if you play this game a second time, you will find out more things to do for other people that you haven't seen in the first playthrough.
Is there going to be a journal if you discover some of these side quests, or is it really just a hint like, oh, maybe if you go to this area, maybe you'll find something, and it's just up to you to remember it?
There will be a journal, and instead of being organized like most RPGs that actually say like, for instance, here you would have unlocked actually something like a keyword, the four statues, and it will say that you found a corpse on the beach and the person was told that he could fly, and it obviously backfired because he couldn't fly. So now you've just unlocked a keyword. You don't know a lot about these four statues yet, but it now is something that you can talk about with other people. And it has given you a hint that somewhere in here there are four magical statues that are pulling everyone's leg by lying to them and saying like, "We can make your wish come true," and they actually can't.
I've seen that dialogue system before where you unlock keywords, then you can use that to question people, and I've always thought it was a great way to treat the system. And it gives you a good reason to go back and talk to some of the people you've already spoken with before,
Yeah.
because maybe now you can ask them something that wasn't an option before. And it's also quite nice and kind of non-linear in a sense.
That's the idea because in the beginning here on the beach we can only go to the left, but as you approach the village, you will see that as you enter the village, you can go northwest and east, and we are also taking that into account because we cannot predict what you are going to do. So the way that, for instance, this quest log is written, but also the way that dialogues are written and quests are written, is that you can approach it from either side, and there is no telling what you have seen before or who you've talked to before, which
Mm-hmm.
makes it a very free game. So we're now talking about the man that jumped off a cliff. You said it's pure madness, and I'm going to say, um, with all the magic at work these days, it could well have been true. So I gain a point in faith, and you gain the point in skepticism. So these are not your typical RPG stats that you're collecting, and thanks to the Kickstarter, we will probably be able to do more with this than we wanted to do originally. So originally we thought like we're going to start collecting these opinions from and social stats of these characters and see how they think about each other, what their affinity levels are, how well they cooperate. But now with the Kickstarter, I think that we can even take this further and make it even more RPG-ish. So there will hopefully, I think one of the stretch goals, and it's our next one at 650, is talents and personal traits. So as you go around and collecting these social stats, your personal traits will start changing, and that again will have an effect on your character.
Now, this isn't a morality system that's just, say, a good versus evil. These are just
No,
points that you're adding up.
no,
And this would be used to unlock dialogue options or
yeah.
something to that effect.
So we're never going to say we're trying to keep it in the gray area. So there is no good answer and there is no bad answer. And sometimes even when you think you've done the right thing, it might come back to haunt you and bite you in the butt like in a couple of hours.
Excellent. So apparently we've got someone stuck in a shell over here.
It's actually the shell that's talking to you.
Okay. Look, look, more wanderers come my way, walking the sands upon which this poor shell must suffer. Oh, so he's just beached.
Like so many shells before.
And then I say I've got a set of topics I can ask about. I
Mhm,
can ask about, I guess, you would be him or the shell.
mhm.
Talk, suffer, watch your statues. I guess I could ask him about the statues.
You can.
Those ancient statues. They've been around for as long as I can remember, but I can't tell you how much more. Or tell you much more. Oh, so you're also seeing this dialogue, I assume, on
Yeah,
your end.
I can
Okay.
also see what you're talking about. I can also just run away. So even if it's a party-based game, your party doesn't have to stick together, of course. But as you would start making a decision with this shell, if I'm not around, you can make your own decision. But I'm now close enough to you to hear you talk to that shell, so I am actually in on the decision.
So now I get to choose if I want to throw him back into the ocean and be a nice person, or if I can keep him and sell the pearl inside of it for some major bucks. And I guess that's going to have some pretty serious implication about what kind of character I'm going to be playing. And
It,
uh,
yeah, well, a serious implication is very very hard, but it does. So everything that you choose in the game does have consequences. Sometimes very clear and immediate consequences or simple consequences, and sometimes pretty deep consequences. So just for presentation's sake, I'm going to disagree with you. So you want to throw him back, and I'm going to say no. We should keep that shell and sell its pearl. So if we disagree,
I have to choose an argument against you.
indeed.
I won't let you take that shell, but I'll throw you in the sea if I have to. So that's intimidate. Come on, you heard a story. Don't be. It should say don't be shellfish. Which is charm, and then what's one pearl worth? Think about it. Maybe down the line it'll reward us even more.
I'm going to write that down.
Oh God, no! I don't want to be responsible for horrible, horrible puns.
I like horrible puns.
Yeah, people who watch my videos have to be used to that. So, um, all right, I'm gonna use charm because I seem like that sort of fellow.
Okay. Then
Apparently, I have zero charm though.
I'm going to be the type of girl that is very intimidating. Or so um I can either say I don't care, I want the gold, this shell will fetch us, or should I beat it out of you? Or I can try to charm you with think about it, it will be safer in a shop than in the wild. Or I can try to reason with you and say, I know, but we desperately need gold to better equip ourselves. So I'm gonna try reason.
That's pretty compelling. Apparently, I didn't buy it though.
Yeah, you won.
Now, is this resolved with a sort of a random die roll plus whatever modifiers you have?
There is a bit of a random on it. There is also a context sensitive bonus on it. So, depending on the situation, for instance, charming someone or reasoning has more chance to actually win, depending on the situation. And indeed, some of our stats are taken into account when you're trying to intimidate, charm, or reason with someone.
I see. Now, apparently, this shell threw us a chest, and in it is looks, I guess, a rare bow. Is that what blue means?
Yeah,
Now,
that's
since you disagreed with me about throwing him back in, I don't know if you deserve this bow, but maybe I'll leave it there for you.
so yeah. It's like the looting system. So when you kill people in combat, they drop their loot, and it's first come first serve, and you can actually choose whether you want to give it to me or not. Um,
So if I put this into my inventory, then I could slide it over to you afterwards?
yes, even if I'm like 7 miles away, we have magical pockets, we call it, and we can give each other things from miles away.
All right, so I've just done that.
You can also drop it back on the ground for me to pick up, or not.
Oh, no, I slid it over to your character, I think.
Okay. And I cannot equip it yet because it has high requirements. Oh, that reminds me. So I'm going to use a cheating button because actually this is after there will be a tutorial level. So there is a character customization screen where you choose the two main heroes. So you can build them the way that you want them to be. You could even play with two girls or two men, and you can already choose their starting stats and their starting skills. At the moment, we have way too many starting skills because you normally only start with one or two. But this way, we're a bit overpowered, which does at the moment help us with combat because I think the enemies are still a bit tough. So if you
I think
press,
I've lost you.
yeah, so there will also be a mini map so you can find me easier. I just went north,
Directly
north.
north, back to the
Well,
book.
no, like
Oh,
northwest more. Okay, west.
sorry. I think I was looking at my inventory when. I'm by an old tree and a boat. In the northwest. Oh, probably through here.
If you hold your left mouse button, your character will just follow it around. Maybe
Oh,
that's
that's
easier
much
than
easier.
yeah.
Is there a way for me to just click and follow you?
In single player, you can tell the other character like stay here or follow me. But right now, you're in control.
Okay. I
uh,
found some stairs, ancient gate.
okay. I think I know where you are. Um, could you before because I know what's going to happen. Could you before you continue press the Y key on your keyboard?
Mm-hmm.
And you should get the stat screen of the heroes of your hero. And so at level at character creation, you get 5 stat points, and we've just leveled up um, because of me cheating. So you get 6 stat points, and you can read the tooltips to see what the stats do at the moment.
Now, so this is a classless system, so all characters are the same, and all characters can become whatever they want, effectively. So I can
Yeah,
become this big guy who seems like a melee guy visually, but he could become a very powerful spellcaster specifically, or a ranged weapon user.
yeah. So at when you create your character, you choose you already choose a bit like what's his starting gear, what's the starting skills. For this presentation, we always take the typical fighter ranger type, but they can both do pretty devastating magic already.
So should I mostly put points into strength then?
I would,
For yeah, all
because,
right.
well, as I said, magic is overpowered anyway, so it doesn't even matter that much if you if you put points in intelligence.
Yeah, game balance always it takes so long to do, and even after release, usually you're patching time and time again to tweak abilities. Especially, I think with this combination system, I suspect that players are going to be pretty good at finding combinations that are overpowered and need to be tweaked over time.
Of course they are. The players are always better than our QA team.
Well, there's usually 100 times more of them.
Yeah, true. Hopefully.
Yeah. I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. Your Kickstarter seems to be going very well. You've met your first goal, and you're going through stretch goals now. Correct?
Yes. Well, when we started the Kickstarter, because a couple of people have asked us, so what were you aiming for? And we said we're aiming for 400,000, and they said like, well, you know that you can easily get 400,000, and we said, oh really? How would we know that we can easily get 400,000? We honestly did not know whether it was going to be successful. Maybe we're too European about this and underestimating ourselves or something. I don't know. But we did have to come up with stretch goals after we had actually launched the page, and apparently these times this is done the other way around. So you ask. One journalist actually told me like most of the Kickstarters ask for half of what they actually need because they know that they're gonna get more. But yeah, so we
It seems that the Kickstarters that tend to do fairly well have a modest initial goal and then
mm,
offer a lot of those stretch goals. I think anyone who just asks for too much right off the bat, I think it's hard to get people to break past that first point. They just see it as hard to achieve, and I think that potential donators just don't commit to the idea the same way. So I think it's the right way to go.
yeah. Well, on the other hand, we're asking for 400k, or we were asking for 400k, because we knew that because normally this game should have been finished in a couple of months, and we noticed that if we could iterate over each level and each quest and each character and each dialogue and all of the details and we wanted to have a deeper RPG system, for instance the stats. So we thought like give us a couple of months more, give us like 6 months more or something or five, and we'll make this game even better than it already is, because at this moment we have the editor, we have all the technology, we have all the power that we need to make this a really cool RPG. So without Kickstarter, it would have been a good RPG. But I think now that we have more time and more budget, we're still going to be able to release this in November 2013. But we'll just be able to give, for instance, this level to another team of designers, while the old team is working on the next level. The other team can make this level even better, and they can keep on polishing it. That was the idea.
Does this level represent something that's going to be in the actual campaign?
Yes, this actually is the first starting level.
Okay.
Um,
So it looks like we've got a couple of guards over here.
yeah, so I'll just run off, and you can go and talk to the guards, and I'll try not to meddle.
All right. Oh, they're drunkards. Okay. No one slips past the Legion, so at this point, do we even know who the Legion are?
I don't think so. You
Oh, I
can
can
ask.
ask them about that. Now, you're far away. Are you even seeing the dialogue at this point? Or is it happening
Uh,
entirely just for me?
I can see you from a distance, so I can see the dialogue actually. Um, but if I'm not close to you, I can read what someone else told you in the journal, which isn't implemented yet, but there will be a history of what everyone said.
So you don't have to worry about missing some important piece of story text just because
Indeed.
you were in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've gone through all of the topics here. Yeah, we're just repeating. Now leave. Oh, can't just have a chat and let him go. Oh, they think I'm a spy for the orcs.
Of
What?
course.
We'll let the wizard decide what to do with you. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we're gonna fight these guys. I'm way too proud to let a couple of drunks take me away. And now we're gonna see the first combat, and I'm really interested about this turn-based combat idea.
Okay. So I don't know if you can see on your screen, but you're stuck in turn-based combat, and I'm still running around in real time. So if one of the party members is in combat, the other one isn't stuck in turn-based time, because that doesn't make a lot of sense. So you could hold off until I join you, or you could start combat. So if you start thinking about it, it kind of messes with your mind, but that's okay. So now I've joined, so I'm close enough on the field to actually join. So on the right, you see the order in which everyone will take their turns, and on the bottom, you see these green dots, and they represent your action points. So with one action point, I think at the moment, this depends on your speed stat, but you can walk, I think, a meter. So the farther you drag your cursor over the terrain, you'll see that your action points start turning yellow, and that shows how much point you'll actually use up when you want to walk over there.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, the initiative is determined by some stat, I guess speed perhaps, or
At the
dexterity?
moment, yeah. So at the moment, initiative is a random, but it also takes from who actually started the fight. So you can surprise guys and sneak up from behind, and then you get a very high initiative bonus. But it's also determined by speed. At the moment, all the magic skills cost 3 action points because we haven't balanced them yet. And the weapons, that depends on what type of weapon you have. So, for instance, a knife only takes 1 action point to fight with. I think a sword is 2 or 3. Double-handed sword is 4 action points, and a huge double-handed battle axe is 5 action points. But obviously, it does lots of damage.
Right. Oh, I like that system. So you can have a fast guy. Oh, can you dual wield weapons?
We haven't made the animations for it yet, but we have lots of supporters in the office for dual wielding. So I think that we'll probably get that. Yeah.
Yeah, rogue types often a lot of people like to play that sort of person. And I guess you can use sword and shield or a two-handed weapon.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay. Now, I feel like with these guys all clustered together and perhaps next to a barrel of booze, I'm kind of itching to fireball them. I have to be honest.
Yeah, well, the I think the barrel is actually empty, so it'll probably explode or burn or be destroyed, but I don't think it'll help in killing these guys. But you can of course always fireball them.
All right, let's fire that off. And now they're on fire. Is the ground on fire as well?
I think a couple of items are on fire. If you want to put the ground on fire,
Oh
you
yes,
need to have a starting surface. I think your character has a skill called Firefly. You can
I do.
create a surface of fire with that. So what it does is actually you draw the surface that you want on the terrain.
How do I draw?
So you click somewhere and then it'll go from your character in one line to that dot, and you have to draw a certain distance before it starts firing.
Oh, there we go. Okay, looks like I was just clicking in bad places. Oh, and yeah, now I can see the ground is kind of, I don't know, volcanic, I
Hmm.
suppose. Molten. And that's the end of my action points.
Okay, so now it's my turn. Ah, yeah. If you still have action points left and you want to end your turn, you click the blue button. And if you would be stuck in a fight, I don't. If you would be stuck in a fight and you go like, yeah, this is useless. I'm totally gonna die here. You can click the red flee button, which takes you to your latest safe haven that you actually choose yourself which one it is. At the moment, we don't have a safe haven, so we'll just go back to the beginning of the beach.
With the blue button, does it just delay me one step in the initiative order?
No, it ends your turn.
Okay. Is there any way that I can wait? Let's say I don't want to act until someone else acts first.
I want to have that button in there
Hmm.
because I don't know if you've ever played the Gold Box RPGs from the 80s by SSI.
Oh yes.
They were based on I think a simplified version of Dungeons and Dragons, and
Hmm.
you had the wait command there, which I thought was very easy. If well, it was very handy if your wizard came first for some reason, for instance. So
I'd like to melee these guys now, and I see when I mouse over them, I'm seeing a 60% and an 80%. Is that my miss chance? Or hit chance, rather?
it's your hit chance, yeah.
So I guess the guy in the front has got a shield, which is why he's harder to hit.
He probably has a better speed, I guess, and the shield doesn't help towards his armor or chance to hit, but it has a chance of blocking an entire attack. You still missed.
Yep.
It's twice.
I should have just hit him with more fire. When in doubt, more fire.
So I'm using a bow, and the further I am from them, the less chance I'll also get. So I'm standing at a pretty good distance, and I think I can take that guy down. No, I didn't. Oh, I did. I think it was his turn and he died from the fire that he took, and the other guy also died from the fire. If you hold your Alt key, you can
Oh,
actually see
salute.
what they dropped. If you hold your Alt key inside a house, for instance, the screen will light up with tooltips, of course.
Okay, no, I can't go and pick it up right now because I guess I started the conversation. Killing two innocent men. Hey, settle down. They were coming straight for us.
And I can say that you're heartless, or I can say if we didn't take care of them, they might be a burden to other innocent people. So let's just pretend our nose bleeds, and I'm gonna steal this guy's bow.
Is there any way, or will there be a way for me to be able to compare an item in my inventory to one I've got equipped,
Uh,
side by side?
yeah, so if you mouse over a weapon, you will see what you have equipped right next to it, so that you can compare it. The way we did that in Divinity 2, I think, is a very good way. So it also, if you moused over a weapon or a piece of equipment, you saw the impact on your stat screen as well.
Okay, I don't think that may not be implemented in my version. Right now, if I mouse over the sword that I just picked up, I only see the tooltip for it, and not my existing weapon.
It's indeed not in there.
Okay, there you go. So I'm going to upgrade there. Um, Close these windows, and then hopefully I haven't lost you again. Oh! I just stepped through fire. Now I'm on fire.
Oh, wait. If you
Alright.
stand still, I'll make it rain. Oh, it's already out? Yeah, it's
Yep,
already out.
looks like it's gone.
So, turn-based, I think one turn lasts like 6 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're on fire, it takes a couple of turns before it goes out. And in real time, 6 seconds is, of course, not really that much.
No, it's pretty short. Wow. Oh, and we just got pulled into this fight.
An orc ship landed there, and they started attacking those other soldiers.
Now, I understand that there's going to be, or there is friendly fire in this game, so if I were to just fireball here, I'd probably hurt a lot of actual innocent soldiers.
Yeah, but they know that they're in combat and they know that there's friendly fire, so they don't care. Normally, if you would attack a soldier just out of the blue, he will turn on you, and everyone from his faction that was close enough to see it will also be hostile towards you. But in this case, they understand. But you should be careful, because if you shoot something from here, I think you will hit that one rock there.
Oh, so I should move up a little bit,
Yeah.
maybe. Just angle around, only use 3 action points. I've got enough for a spell. Oh no, they're grayed out.
You're out
Maybe I
of
didn't leave
mana.
myself enough. Ah!
It's the blue
Alright.
bar next to the red bar that's tiny on your UI.
I guess I'll just run up as close as I can get, and then I'll have to attack next turn. I'm gonna run out of hit points.
Do you have like you didn't pick up food or potions along the way?
I haven't seen any. I
Okay.
have
Well,
yeah. I have a
I
shovel.
I looked in some crates and barrels and things, and I also only have found a bucket and a stick. So
I don't think we're getting very lucky with the random drops.
I think the random drop should be less random.
Yeah, you
I
might
hit
want
the
to ensure
bridge.
that there's a little bit of food in the very first crate that someone opens. Just, for dummies who run around in combat and get
Yeah. Well,
beaten
I
by
think
orcs.
the first fights are a bit too hard at the moment anyway, especially indeed for if you're new to this kind of game, or should be a bit more friendly.
Now I can see that these guys were getting flanked, so I guess that makes it
Indeed.
much easier to hit them.
Yeah. They got a malice on their defense, and I can even hit him from this far.
Can you friendly fire with arrows if you're trying to shoot through someone? Or is
If
it
I want to
only
shoot,
spells?
it's spells, and you can probably hack at me. I think if you keep the control key, so in the final game there will be a button with which you can switch between peace mode and combat mode. So you actually sheath your weapon. If you have your weapon unsheathed and you click something, you'll attack it. So I think I can shoot at you by holding the control key. I think I can also. So the default action, for instance, on these soldiers is to start talking to them. But if I hold control and then click on them, you actually start attacking them. But they won't
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, obviously.
I can see that. Is this? I guess this is the Legion stronghold.
This is the village wall. And someone was keeping the door closed. Okay, there he is. Okay. He's thanking me for taking care of the orcs.
I found a spoon. I found some 9-inch nails. Oh, that.
Ah, that's
Excellent.
cool. I'm going to give you a stick, so if you open your inventory, you can drag those nails over the stick, and you'll create stick with nails, which is a better stick. It does more damage.
All right, let's do that. Branch with nails does 3 to 7 crushing damage. Okay, well I can't resist using that. What's the hotkey for equipment?
Right click on it. U, I think.
Oh, right, and I guess I could just right click and swap them around. Yeah, and you can see the model in game.
Yeah, at the moment they don't change their armor yet, but of course that's also going to be in that your visual represents what you're wearing. Yeah, you're actually wearing.
Now, I can see that some of these items, when I mouse over them, the hand is red. Does that mean that would be stealing if I were to take it?
It if someone can see you, it will be considered stealing. If they cannot see you, well, you've still stolen something. But
But they
um,
don't know.
so I ran down to the harbor and there was a ship on fire here, and people started running in panic towards me, and now they're trying to come up with what should we do. There's a ship on fire. And if you talk to them, you can actually tell them like, don't just stand there like idiots. Go and put it out yourself.
There we go. Start a bucket brigade.
Okay. So that is one way, because this guy that was cleaning his boat here, he has some interesting things. He has the nails, he has a hammer, and now I can actually pick that up because no one is around to see me picking it up.
Oh, we're fantastic heroes. I know how it works. A hero is someone who takes everything that isn't nailed down.
Uh, well, we can make up for it and put out the rain on that boat, because put out the fire on that boat, because we can make it rain.
I see everyone's been debuffed with wetness.
It actually makes them more susceptible to ice magic and electricity magic. And it can put out, so the rain puts out fires. For instance, the effect of, for instance, electricity is bigger. The effect of trying to freeze them would be bigger. And it also creates puddles of water on the terrain. And then you can use that to your advantage in combat.
You can freeze it, make people slip, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I guess being
the-
wet also protects you from fire.
yeah, a bit.
Okay, I found a potion of restoration.
I think in your case, it's interesting to actually drink that now.
Okay, let's see. I've also got a healing potion. So restoration restores mana.
Restoration
Oh,
restores
both.
both. Yeah,
Can you name your characters?
of course. I think right now you're called Roderick, which is a very manly name, of course. But you'll be able to name them. I don't know.
The Quillinator. Hey, a pumpkin. Now, can I make pumpkin pie?
You can't, but you can make a pumpkin helmet. But then you first need a knife to carve it up.
I have a butter knife.
I think if you drag the butter knife over the pumpkin.
This is amazing. Best game ever. I'm declaring it now.
Well, if you're gonna look like an idiot, so am I.
A bucket on your head?
Well, it's like plus 10% against crushing damage or something.
Well, that's pretty good.
I think it does have a malice on sight, though.
Oh, mine just gives me a bonus to piercing and fire resistance.
I think people should run away from you if they're easily fearful. You decide where we're going. I've been here dozens of times.
Oh, well, I'm going to take all these magic swords here.
Oh yeah, they're that's the bonus you get from playing with the developers. We put down cheating things all over the place.
All right, I'm going to take the well-made Sisial Guard Sword of the Leprechaun, which gives me a luck boost. What does luck do in this game?
It does a couple of things. So it helps you in hitting people. It helps you to resist certain attacks. Your loot becomes better if you open a chest or something. We can use it in all kinds of formulas just to give you a tiny bit of a boost.
This person used a love potion on an orc.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Crimson wears off. Yeah, so I guess I'm so used to wandering around these towns and looking for exclamation marks. I've been ignoring all these NPCs, but I can't do that. I've got to go and talk to everyone, learn their deals.
Indeed. And maybe you'll have to go back after unlocking a couple of extra keywords. And it also we still have to play test this. So I hope it's something that actually works. It's also not often very clear if they actually do have something for you to do. So, for instance, if you see a soldier without a sword and you click on him, you can actually tell him like, "Dude, you don't have a sword." And then he'll go like, "Oh yeah, yeah, well I lost it somewhere. Don't tell my sergeant." And then you can go and tell his sergeant, and he'll get punished. Or you can try to get that guy a sword. You can give him one of your swords, or you can give him money to go and buy one. And so every time that you make a choice like that, it has a consequence. But you do have to see it, and you have to put two and two together to see what you can do about it.
Oh, there we go, and we can try to resolve this orc situation. Friendly enough, keep her and question her, or kill her. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about orcs in this game.
Well, up till now, they weren't very friendly, were they?
They weren't. Hmm. But she's currently defenseless. It feels. You know what? Let's fight her.
Um, okay, I agree. There's no point in keeping her alive. So one of the soldiers is now happy with this decision, and the other soldier thinks that she was beautiful.
Oh,
And again, you made a choice, and this has a consequence. So with this choice that you've taken, one of these soldiers will help us out in a battle later on.
well, I got a mana potion out of it, so it was completely worthwhile. That's all that matters. Got loot. Hello, anyone want to help? Oh, so this one's actually explicitly calling out to us too, to get our attention.
He actually wants. What he means by anyone want to help is, I think you're seeing that in the dialogue. So his workers ran away.
Mmm. So there's a beach gate blocking our path. Am I getting that correctly? Most knowledge has been lost. Be hard pressed to find anyone who knows what's in there.
Ah, yeah, you ran past. You said like you ran past big stairs, a big staircase,
Mm-hmm.
and next to it was a huge stone gate that hadn't been opened in centuries, and now you can talk to people about you having seen that.
So I wonder if I can get these guys to help the fisherman. I don't know if he counts as a layabout or not. There is a lot of writing that has gone into this. Like every single one of these characters has a pretty interesting personality and a lot to say about just about everything. All right, is there? I feel like there are times running a little bit long here. Is there one big final fight or encounter that we should look at before we wrap this up?
I could cheat us up to so there are orcs landing on the beach to the west.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think as level 2 characters it'll be pretty hard. Um, I can't see them for now, and I don't dare to go in closer. I'll level us up to 3-4, 3-4. Okay, let's say 5. So we're now level 5, which has
Mm-hmm.
given us 3 extra points. Um, I don't know what stat scores you have, but I would. How much do you have in perception?
My perception is 5.
So I would boost that because perception is currently linked to how much chance you have to hit people.
Oh, all right, that sounds pretty good. Because I don't like missing. That's the thing. I will accept doing less damage as long as I can hit consistently.
Well, one level of difference in this game does make a difference. So if you are level 1 and you're fighting, wait, I'm gonna take these guys. Can you talk to one of these soldiers?
Sure.
And it's really bad that I know this by heart, but I think you have to click fight and then reinforcements, and then they'll join us in combat.
So it's entirely possible we could have run past these guys and not, whoops, gotten
Yeah,
help.
I don't know. I don't know if they would come and help us. Maybe they would only start to help us when we are close enough to them, because they're also hostile towards the orcs.
Mm-hmm.
But if we would have gone pretty far so that they wouldn't see us, I think that one of the guards is trying to find his way. So we're still working on this game, and sometimes crazy stuff like this happens.
Yeah, I think it may be because this orc engaged us while we were still in conversation. It got kind of screwed up
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so it looks like it's my turn. I want to use my sword and oh, these people have just fainted.
They're having a lie down on the beach.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I don't have enough action points to fight, so I guess I'll just wait now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to admit that I used my cheating keys to actually kill them because I saw that their AI was not responding.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is very. It's this is not even beta. This is pre-beta.
It's even pre-alpha.
Yeah. So I'm actually really impressed by how much of the game has been developed and exists at this point, considering that you're still what, like 5-6 months away from release.
Indeed, like 6 or 7 months.
Uh oh.
But we had the entire RPG system pretty fast, because we're still using codes that we wrote 12, 13 years ago. So, for instance, the scripting language that our designers are using is scripting language that was developed in '98. So it has been tried and tested.
Mm-hmm. You guys have been doing this for a while.
Hmm.
How big's your team, by the way?
Um, in our office at the moment, there's about 35 people, and we have a couple of things that we outsource, like sound and music. Um, when we start doing animations, we also get an external company to help us out in animation.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that we outsource because it doesn't make sense for us to have like an animation team of 20 people sitting at our offices the entire time. We only need them at certain points. But I think that is still a pretty small company to be pulling tricks like this.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And where are you located?
We're in Ghent in Belgium.
Okay. On your website, I thought it said California.
Um, yeah. We had to start an American company to be able to actually start a campaign on Kickstarter.
Oh, now I understand. Yes, of course. Okay. But you're Belgian.
But we're
Or the
Belgian.
company is. Okay.
Yeah. So we started like, I don't know, a sister company or something in the US, with one guy sitting there behind the desk.
That's right, because I think Kickstarter is only available in the US and the UK.
Yeah. So otherwise we would have had to start a campaign in the UK, and then you have to start doing all the math with paying in English pounds, and
Mm-hmm.
even for us, so the euro compared to the pound, and then the euro compared to the dollar. For us, a dollar means something. For Americans, a dollar, of course, means something.
Sure.
A pound is something like I even don't know how much it's worth at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of all those conversion rates. So I feel like my wanting to test this shining you sword probably led me to employ some pretty poor tactics in this fight. Clearly, I think I should have opened up with maybe some magic here, and it looks like you're going to pay the price for it as well.
I'm going to try to block off these two guys by using an ice wall over them, while one of the corpses is talking at the back of my screen. Okay, so I froze.
Yeah, I think we engaged the whole conversation system and the triggering of the fight. Didn't agree with the scripting as is, but that's okay. That's what development is for.